You're not moving away or anything. You're...
No, it's kind of, we've been together for like 11 years, so
Oh,
we
good.
took us that long to seal it. So
Not moving away or anything.
No, we're here.
Good. Okay, so I think just Dr. Hay is not joining us this evening.
Yeah, so we're waiting for Elliot.
Yes.
And Erin, I was going to read the public hearing procedures again, even though it's a continuation.
Good idea. But
Okay.
there's no new legal notice, Carol.
Oh,
so
okay.
you can
Okay.
skip that part if that's helpful.
Yep, cross it out. So another minute or so and we'll get started.
Sounds good.
Yay, there's Elliot.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Elliot.
Evening.
Hi.
Are we recording? Perfect.
We're ready.
Okay, we're ready. It's 7 o'clock. So I'd like to call the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting of July 7th, 2022 to order. We have a continuation of one public hearing scheduled for this evening, and I'll take a few minutes to review the process for that public hearing. During the hearing, the applicant will be invited to join as a panelist to present the application, explaining to the commission and others present what is being requested. The applicant or staff will share all application materials on the screen as needed. Comments of town agencies will be read for each application if there are any. There will be clarifying questions from the commissioners. Then there will be an opportunity for clarifying questions from attendees. Please raise your hand through the Zoom platform and wait to be called on and unmuted. Next, those who wish to support the application may come forward, and then those who oppose the application may come forward. As this public hearing must be recorded, it is necessary for speakers to identify themselves each time they speak by stating their name and address. The applicant will then have an opportunity to address any questions or concerns raised by the public or commissioners. And once the public hearing is closed, the applicant is free to leave or remain for the balance of the regular meeting, during which the commission will try to reach a decision on each application. Each applicant will be notified in writing as to the decision of this commission and has a right to appeal to Superior Court if desired. Decisions of this meeting are available the day after the meeting by calling the Land Use Department at 203-245-5631 after 9 a.m. All actions taken tonight by the commission will be by roll call. All commissioners and staff will identify themselves for their record before speaking. Seated this evening, we have members Ron Bodenson, Elliot Hitchcock, Giselle McDowell, and myself, Carol Snow. Staff present this evening is Erin Mannix, town planner. This meeting is live streamed on YouTube and will be made available on the town website for viewing. So with that said, could I have a motion to continue the public hearing for 22-09 DVD 761 Boston Post Road?
Motion to continue.
Thank you, Giselle. And a second?
A second.
That was Elliot. Thank you. And just for clarification, this is 22-09 DVD 761 Boston Post Road, map 38, lot 96, Downtown Village District. Owner is Davis Realty. The applicant is Harold L. Blank of Madison Art Cinema, regarding major alteration in the Downtown Village District per sections 30 for digital sign. And this is a continuance from June 16th, 2022. Erin, do we have any?
Yes, we have Harold Blank, who is the cinema owner, joining us, I believe, from Fenway Park this evening. Harold,
Oh, no way.
is that correct? Can you hear us? Harold, can you hear us? Must not. Harold, can you hear us? You can't hear us. Okay. Let's see if he can get his sound. Is your sound working, Harold? Now he's joining us from his phone. Let's see. Are you able to well, you are not muted, Harold. Oh, here he goes. He's connecting now. Okay.
Okay, great. I think this might be a first from Fenway.
I know.
Okay, now Harold, I think you're muted if you can hear us.
If you can unmute. Can you unmute, Harold?
Muted.
You can hear me now, right?
Yes, there you
Yes.
are, Harold. Can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Okay, now we're in business. Okay, so Harold, would you like to present to the commission what the modification is that you're requesting for the marquee?
The modification is to be able to use graphics, color in the promotion of the movies and a few theater policies, and have it interchange at a rate of 20-30 seconds. I would prefer 20. I know the architectural committee voted 30. However, there was one person on that committee who said they did not have a problem with 20. I'm very happy with 30 to start there and see what happens.
Okay, and Madam Chair, I'm happy to share some of the images since Harold is joining us from a cell phone.
Yeah, I was just about to ask if we have video or images.
I do, so I'll share images first, so you can see. Oh, excuse me, I clicked on the narrative. So the narrative and application documents were available on the town's website, essentially indicating exactly what Harold had just told you. So one of the first images here is this particular display that does have color. It's a fixed display, and it does have essentially the poster or the promotional display that was from the production company. So this is the first example, and I can share another example. That has the Oscar on the side and then the image of the movie. I do have a video that I can share as well. We were unable to post that onto the town's website, but I do have that accessible. Section.
Erin, is that video moving or?
Waiting to see if it's going to change. I'm waiting the 30-second. There you go.
I know it's an exciting video, but.
And the light right in the front is a little challenging, but that there now you can get a focus. This is
Right.
An example of the actual theater promotion that Harold was indicating. So not just the actual displays of the movies with their images, but also the ability to have these promotional specials shown as well.
Can everyone see that okay? It is actually moving.
Yes, there's a few more seconds left on it. It was a 1.5-minute video, so it should give us a few rotations here.
Harold, I have a quick question for you. Is the size of the screen staying the same as it is now?
Yeah, correct. Yes.
Okay, great. Thanks.
So that's the example of essentially what the cinema is looking for. And as I wanted to share, I did put this in the form of a staff memo as well to highlight the comments from the from ACCA. And happy to
Were those sent out at some point?
no, that was not. And I'm happy to just enter it into the record as.
But the minutes were posted on the file, so we could all see
Oh, the
them.
minutes are those are attached to the file documents online, Ron?
Oh.
That was your question. And I can share here some of my comments.
But, okay, did we
Yep.
receive your comments yet? I don't remember getting.
No, I did not email anything separately. I just figured I would summarize, since we only had one application this evening. I just figured I'd summarize on the record for us here. Okay. So as Harold had indicated, this is a modification of the approved digital marquee, was approved in 2017. And it's considered a major alteration in the downtown village district, which is why you're having a public hearing process. In 2017, the previous cinema owner received approval by the commission for the replacement of a fixed letter marquee with the LED electronic marquee. Several of you were on the commission at that time. One condition was placed on the approval then, which was utilization of the marquee shall be limited to movie theater announcements and occasional community/civic messages as presented in the application. In this pending application, Mr. Blank indicates they're seeking permission to change the titles on the marquee at the rate of every 20 seconds, and that the use of movie-related images as artwork be allowed versus lettered titles. The applicant went before ACCA twice, most recently on June 14th, providing a video example of this type of display requested. And that's the video I just shared with you. As a result of discussions at their meeting, ACCA provided the following recommendations. One, that the marquee can include static colored images produced by the production studios, for example, playbill or movie poster intervals. And there's a spelling error there, I apologize. At intervals of 30 seconds. And two, that the display is limited to movie announcements and non-movie title specific promotional display for the cinema. Staff would further suggest that should the commission wish to grant this modification, no off-premises advertising, signage, or display be permitted on the premises. More specifically, that the marquee cannot be used to advertise off-premises businesses. So that's my recommendation, and I am happy to share a draft resolution with the commission, which basically reflects that those three conditions. Should you look to move in that direction after closing the public hearing?
Do any commissioners have any questions?
I have one question. What would be the hours that the marquee would actually be illuminated?
That's a good question.
As far as I'm concerned, from like 10 in the morning to close at night, and close at night is approximately 10 o'clock, or it could be shortly after the 30 minutes after the last show goes in. which commonly goes in somewhere between 7:30 and 9 o'clock, depending on the season.
Okay.
So not, it would not be running after 10 o'clock in the evening.
No.
then. Great.
No, it
Okay.
would not be.
Any other questions from commissioners?
Yeah, I did a little bit.
Um,
I couldn't call up the ACA. It kept going to something else. Yeah, I'm worried about this becoming sort of an advertising mechanism for other things. ACA apparently said not to have announcements of off-premises events, but that's pretty narrow. What about advertising products? Just Budweiser beer or
We have no desire, we have no desire to advertise products, and happy to put a limitation of not doing that in whatever you write.
okay.
Our simple objective is to advertise movies and a few of the important corporate policies of the theater and limit it at that.
Okay, but aren't you promoting to have other events at the theater, not just movies, right?
Well, yes, we might have the opera. We
Right.
may show the opera live. We may show, I'm planning to show a Billy Joel concert live from, that was filmed in Yankee Stadium sometime in October. These are digital filmed events, and are no different than a movie.
Sure.
Our industry has changed enormously over the last 5 years, where we show ballets, we show operas, we show concerts, we show documentaries for a night. I'm looking to play a Gabby Gifford documentary for 1-2 nights in August. These are digital filmed events, just like Elvis, and just like Lightyear, and just like Minions.
Well, I wasn't clear. By live events, how about the local Democratic Party shows up and has an event one night, and the name of it was Screw Republicans. So is that going to be on the board outside?
Absolutely not.
Okay, so
I mean, that's a very good question, and I'm happy to say that that if somebody rents the theater, that they cannot use the marquee to promote
okay,
whatever they're trying to promote.
yeah, okay. So and I'm a little also worried about just drivers being diverted. I mean, when I drive down there, I turn to look to see what the movie is, which is a bad idea. But on the other hand, if it's changing a lot, then I think a driver is more diverted. So maybe this 30 seconds is better than the 20 seconds because it lasts longer and it's not changing quite as much. So that's just one thought I had. And I assume what's going to be on there is going to be like a constant visual. We won't be having flashing.
It will not flash. It rotates fairly slowly. None of the digital artwork that is produced by the studios is moving. There'll be no. I told the architectural group we will not look to have moving images. We will not. That would be too distracting.
Yeah, because there's pedestrians and cars, and I'm all for this. I just want it to be as safe as possible and not get off on some series of products or messages that people find offensive. And I know everybody has a different attitude about that, but I'm just, I like your approach, and I think we're on the same, but I think we need to word it, Aaron, in some way that is pretty clear that what we've been talking about, no products, no flashing, that kind of.
Right. I agree. And I think ACA tried to address the animation or the moving images by indicating that it should only include static color images.
100, and I agree 100%.
And from a staff point of view, and my comments for the off-premises advertising signage that's existing in our regulations currently, but that same question had come up, I believe, with the committee as to whether or not there would be specials with, adjacent businesses and advertising potential off-premises for an off-premises sign for another business. So that's where that suggestion for the text came from, just to nip that and be consistent with our regulations, that it's purely for promotional for the cinema only. But if you want to incorporate, it is in the minutes of this discussion clearly, but as far as the turning off at 10 p.m. Versus, as well as, if the theater itself is rented, that does not include permission to utilize the marquee for signage.
And again, no product. So I thought when I read it a month or so ago, I thought you might be advertising Coca-Cola if you sold it or something. I just didn't want to go beyond other products.
I'm sure Coca-Cola would love me to do that for them. They couldn't pay me enough.
Yeah.
Now, Harold, correct me if I'm wrong. You did indicate to ACA that you would add information like we saw in the video as far as gift certificate availability or potential specials or discounted shows, things like that.
Yes, anything from like Bargain Wednesdays or early bird matinees or our theaters for rent, but nothing much beyond that. There's not a lot of cinema policies I'd want to put up there. Just limit it, and happy to limit it to like 25% of the total number of changeable ads. If we're changing 10 ads, we can only do 2 ads, 2 that are theater policies, and the other 8 need to be movie related. Happy to do that.
Harold, I think some of that information is already being done, isn't it?
Yeah, I actually don't see the marquee, but I do. She is I know, putting up the gift certificates and things like that. Yes, that is correct.
Thanks. Okay. Giselle, do you have any questions or comments?
I do not.
Thanks. Okay. At this point, then, do we have any attendees who have any questions or comments?
We have 3 attendees. I would just ask that if anybody would like to speak for or against the application to please raise their hand. Madam Chair, no one's raising their hand.
Okay, great. And I don't know if we still have Harold, but
I'm here.
You have an opportunity.
I'm sitting in the souvenir shop across from Fenway Park.
Has the game started yet?
Yes.
Okay.
That's okay. No problem.
I guess I just wanted to give you another opportunity to respond to any of our comments and questions so far.
I think the comments are very, they pertain very well to what I want to do. That we're not looking to be some cowboy out there on a wild horse and just throw anything up there. We want to promote the theater. We want to promote what we're playing and a few of the policies, and that's it. And in a tasteful manner.
Great.
We actually do believe that the images used are easier for a person to see what a movie is than actually the wording.
Especially when we're driving by.
So you won't be promoting the sale of Yankee tickets, I assume.
But Jerry Davis is a Yankee fan, and I know he's at the ball game tonight here.
Really? That's funny.
Okay, well, if there's
I
a
have to
movie
go-
of the
I have to
ball
go to
game,
work.
Aaron, in the final approval that we did after, because I know it came back to us on a few different occasions because of some complaints and with the videos and stuff that we're playing. With the final approval, didn't we give approval to allow images from the movies to be used in the promotion? If I remember correctly.
I thought it was still limited to no color. So I don't know if, and Harold, maybe you can answer that question. I don't believe you were using any images in
No,
advertising that were in the
We're
black and
we're
white.
not, but I do know that Arnold, as the years went on, seemed to broaden what he did, and he did use color and he did use images. And I think he also made some community announcements on the board. So I think it was approved to do one thing, and it ended up doing a lot more than that.
Well, during the Olympics, I think about 4 years ago, he started posting videos for the local Olympians that were participating in the Olympics. And there was quite the uproar over the videos being played, which is why it ended up coming back to the Planning and Zoning Commission for trying to get permission to do more things. And I know the video was definitely left out. And at the time, there was a lot of discussions regarding the scrolling and the limitations to like 20 or 30 seconds between scrolls. So it didn't seem like live animation because it's switching so quickly.
Right.
Right. I do know, there was reference about we'll have ability Arnold when he had Arnold Gorlick when he had owned the cinema. He wanted to be able to announce town meetings or have the potential for public safety announcements, alerts, things like that, chamber events and other local events. And I do recall in some instances, graduating class, I think the names of the graduates previously, I can't recall if that was a COVID related like special kind of event or if that was actually predating COVID. However, if some of those things were being done, they may have been done without approval. So at this point, it would be a formal modification, specifically allowing this type of display with the conditions that you place on it. We had concerns before about the moving text, which is initially how we had reached out to Harold to bring him in to address this as a modification.
Yeah, because I know the very original approval was actually simply to replace having to do an unsafe changing of letters. And it was supposed to be basically just a duplication of the original hand inserted letters and numbers to promote the business. And then it definitely evolved pretty quickly once the sign went in.
Yes.
Which is why it ended up we ended up having to do a site walk one night and also additional meetings after that to basically come up with modifications to the original.
Okay, so that original was the 2017 when they initially replaced that.
Yeah.
There may have been some follow-up after that. And then the cinema was closed for quite some time.
For 2 years.
Exactly.
So,
thanks, Elliot. for that.
I'm not opposed to these changes at all. I actually like the 30-second rotation. I think it definitely doesn't cause somebody to draw their eye off the road, going down the small road where there's a lot of pedestrians crossing. The only concern that I actually have is, I know the abutters were notified, but there's a lot of townspeople who don't know that this modification is potentially going on. I just remember the uproar that we had with the videos that were being played, and, caused us to have a few more meetings. And I'm just wondering if it's something we should do for like a 90-day approval to try to give the public an opportunity to see exactly what the changes are. And then if, there's no complaints, then go to a formal approval for long-term or permanent change to it.
Is that legal, Aaron, to do it that way?
Well, sure, you can. I mean, if that's what you wish to do, and readdress that in 3 months. We do have evidence that the certified mail was sent to all the abutters within that 150 feet. That was done on May 25th. So there
But the
has.
majority of that are business, majority of that is commercial, not people from throughout town.
Right.
I mean, one thing.
Sure, there may be some residential units, some mixed use
Yeah.
buildings, but yes.
One thing that 90 days might tell us is how many fender benders there are in front of the movie theater. So, I mean, are there going to be car wrecks? And if so, and it becomes a big problem, can we undo this or modify it without this 90-day? We would have to initiate something, Aaron, or what?
Do you know how many fender benders there are now?
No idea.
Just curious what you would compare it to.
Yeah.
Question.
Well, no, the police would have a record of it, and I'm
Yeah.
sure there are.
There must be stats.
First of all, there are no crosswalks downtown. For some reason, the town of Madison, unlike any other town, doesn't want crosswalks downtown. So all the pedestrians are going in between cars and trying to find their way across. There's no stop signs, there's no slow signs. So cars are just driving down there. And when they start looking up at the theater too, which I do, it may be interesting to see what happens in the next 90 days. But I don't know.
Any other comments, or we can move to close the public hearing for 22-09 DVD 761 Boston Post Road? Could I have a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll make the motion to close the public hearing.
Thank you, Elliot. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, Harold, you're welcome to stay with us or get back to your game.
How long are we gonna be here?
I think this will be not very long.
Okay, I'll hang around.
My sense is that you have our support, but I agree with Elliot that it would be a great idea, I think, to have a time, like a 90-day trial period, just so that we can make sure that the community feels comfortable with the slight change that's being made. And, we have to clearly define what that is, I think, in our motion.
Mhm.
But I'd appreciate any other comments or thoughts from other commissioners. Elliot, thanks for that history, by the way. I think that was helpful.
Oh, you're welcome.
Good to have some old timers in there.
If
Giselle,
there's-
were you on that walkthrough also when we did the walkthrough for the sign? Were you on at
Yeah.
that point?
Yes,
Okay.
I was.
I thought
Yeah.
so.
And I agree with Elliot, which is why I'm not saying much, nothing to add. I think that's a very reasonable action to take.
I also agree with Aaron, your staff comments about would it be still images from the production companies and no off-premises advertising of any kind. And as Harold has said, he seems committed to just keeping it relevant to the running of the cinema.
So-
Yeah,
Okay, I'm happy to share some draft language and you can modify that as, you know, if you're looking to make a motion. And I guess my thoughts for a temporary, a conditional approval for 90 days, if you just be clear as far as what the parameters would be to that you're evaluating at that 90-day point to then allow for the continued use of the sign in this nature.
right. I mean, I think we're in agreement with the ACA motion that was taken. We just want to expand upon it a bit.
Okay, so that's what I included here on the first two conditions. Everybody can see this, correct? And then the third is my recommendation for no off-premises advertising. And I guess maybe you'd like to, or somebody would like to make a motion, and I'm happy to amend this, the text of this to reflect your motion. But this might be able to at least get something on the floor.
If we
Thanks.
were to just put in that it's to be used exclusively for the on-premises movies and events for the movie theater, do we really need to put in anything about no off-premises advertising?
You mean
Just
just
a
leave
thought.
it at number 2?
Well, if it were to have exclusively in there for the use of on-premises events and movies advertising.
But I think he agreed that he wasn't going to allow somebody who is going to have an event on the premises to use it for advertising, like the Democratic Party. So that may be too broad.
If they were to put up, welcome Democratic Party, Democratic Town Party or Democratic Town Committee Party, or like William Pitt Sotheby's rented the place for an event. Would it be, is that
So
something that we wouldn't want to see up there, or is that something they should just hold for like a sign by the front door, just welcoming the, renters of the facility?
Yeah, I don't think we want anything else but movie-related information. And the movies, well, Harold did clarify the movies could include opera and ballet and, other
Oh, sure.
forms of cinema productions, which I think sound great. So, but I think, does that clarify it, Elliot, for,
Yeah.
events would not be able to, special events would not be able to be promoted if we just say it's specifically to the movie functions. I don't know, I'm mumbling here. Maybe there's a better way to say it.
Movies or event programming that have a admission attached to it, a cinema admission attached to it. Pretty much defines that it's something that we are playing or exhibiting in the theater only, because obviously we're getting an admission for it.
But thank you, Harold. We have to limit your comments now that we closed.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So
I'm sorry.
this needs to be deliberation by the commission only, okay?
I'm sorry.
Thanks.
And we need to work out among ourselves what clear language we'd like to use in addition to what Aaron has provided as a draft. So also, Elliot, you were interested in, or I think if you could add language about the 90-day trial period, perhaps.
Were you thinking of just exclusively promotional display exclusively for the cinema and leave it at that? Is that where you were looking to put this in here?
That works for me.
Elliot, when you meant,
Yes,
okay.
for the use of the cinema, yeah.
And then in number 3, where it says no off-premises advertising signage, can it be no off-premises or product advertising signage?
Yeah, that's good.
Or product, yeah.
Yeah, or
Product.
product. Well, I would put, yeah, I would put no off-premises or product advertising. That way you have product advertising together. Between premises and advertising, I'd add, so no off-premises or product advertising. Okay. And then the first one, it says the marquee can include static color. Well, that's a permissive. Should it be may only include or shall only include? Okay.
You indicated, Ellie, you had questions regarding the hours of illumination. Did you want to address that in the motion?
I think, I think what he had said was 30 minutes after the last movie ended. I think that would be an adequate amount of time without putting a set time frame on it, because some nights that could be 9 o'clock and some nights it could be 10 p.m.
But it also could be 1 a.m. in the morning too. Should we have some limit but
no later than
11 p.m. or something?
No later than 10 p.m., I think he said.
He was agreeable to that, but I sort of worry that's too early for him. But he was agreeable to 10 p.m.
I thought he said it may go past 10 to 10:30.
Yeah, because I think he did say that some movies start at 9 p.m., which, 2-hour movie would be 11 p.m. getting over.
Okay, I don't have a problem with 11 p.m. And I do think
Aaron,
that
I just have one question. I know we're not supposed to be asking very many questions at this point, but is there rules in place currently for other businesses in the downtown village district regarding lighting and like interior lighting and exterior lighting for turning them off?
Yes, that is common, absolutely. As far as sign lights and things like that after business hours to turn them off, yes.
So it's after business hours. It's not a certain particular time.
No,
It's not like we don't have a 10 p.m.
no,
like,
it's not
lights out.
a set time.
Okay.
I don't believe in the regulation, no.
All right.
so 11 p.m. would be compatible enough.
Well, and that also gives you an opportunity during the 90-day period, if you're looking to still continue with a conditional approval, that can be evaluated if it's not needed or perhaps it doesn't work. It's a good trial.
And I just like the 90-day period just to give, a wider opportunity for the public throughout town to be able to see it and give some feedback and see if people start, calling your office, screaming and yelling about the, colors and the video, what appears to be video or whatever playing.
So at the end, it says the effective date of approval shall be July 15, 2022. And we could go from there and shall expire 90 days thereafter unless, or shall be reviewed 90 days thereafter. Aaron, we need your help on what happened.
I would almost recommend that as a condition that the applicant return 90 days. This is a conditional approval for 90 days. The applicant return to the commission to evaluate if,
Public input and
Public input or community
right,
response.
that, because this finding in the village district is that the sign modifications are compatible with existing streetscapes, surrounding buildings, and that no further impact on public view is anticipated within that sub-district. So you can say this is conditionally approved for 90 days with the finding that, and should no, no impacts be brought to the commission's attention, or you're going to have to evaluate if there are concerns brought to your attention, and you're going to have to weigh those if there are any complaints to see, if they're if you consider them truly an impact on the public view or not in harmony with that village district.
I worry that we're not going to know enough because he's not going to want to let this lapse. So he's going to have to come in here between 60 and 90 days to say, can we continue it? We're going to only have 45 to 60 days of information. I'd rather make it 120 days. Let's have a full 90 days of information gathering, police reports, people. And then in that last 30 days between 90 and 120, he comes in and we say, great. And he's never had to shut it down because we're beyond the 90 days. But if that makes sense to you, Aaron, we don't want a situation where, oops, the 90 days went by and we haven't met with him yet.
And I think that I think we would have a pretty good sense within the 90 days. I think, in the first 30 days,
Okay. All right.
I'm just saying, I think in the first 30 days that there's going to be a lot of uproar, especially during the summer months when a lot of people are downtown seeing it. I think the phones are going to start ringing at the land use office if people are upset with what they're seeing.
All right.
But I mean, 90 or 120 days, either way, as long as it's something that is a conditional approval for a short duration of time. I mean, 3 to 4 months is, I think, an adequate amount of time to evaluate the impact that this may or may not have. I mean, the phones may be quiet and, he may be sitting back for 90 days waiting to come back just to get the final,
Sure.
permanent approval.
You could pick a specific date. If this is July 15th, you could do the middle of September. Your meeting of September 22nd, for example, to report back to the commission to evaluate any potential concerns or complaints that may.
That's only 60 days. So that's really not.
What was that? Yep. So you could do October.
I think it is good to get this out for the summer because more people will be out on the streets and out and about seeing it, I think.
I mean, I have a pretty good sense that there's not going to be much in the way of an uproar, especially just adding another little image, movie poster image, something like that. I don't think there's going to be a concern. I would just like to give the opportunity for people to see it and voice if they do have concerns.
I agree, Elliot.
So, I mean, 90 or 120 days, I would be okay with either one.
Let's see what our schedule is in October.
October, you would have October 20th would be your second meeting in October.
Yeah, I think we should say maybe the effective date of approval shall be July 15, 2022 and shall expire on November 1st, 2022, unless extended by the commission at its meeting on October 20th or something. Aaron, you're better at how to work this out.
Well, I think we could do it as a condition number 5, as it's starting to be typed right now.
Yeah.
And then basically at that point, when we come back for a final approval, it may just simply be eliminate number 5.
Okay.
And then it's a full approval based on what's
Good.
written and just change the final date.
Yeah, that's smart. Yeah.
It would be
And-
November,
Well, the third.
November 3rd.
And shall be reviewed by the commission at its meeting on October 20th. So we have a really firm date on it.
So, yeah, you can add a condition of expiration, this approval shall expire on November 3rd, 2022. Let's see,
And then have the meeting on October 22nd. Just so that it doesn't expire and he has to basically turn the marquee off or go back to where he is now.
Right.
yeah, November, right. So you can, yep, and so we'll just plan to have, yep, Harold will have to plan to come back to join you on
Erin,
the 20th.
Is
I-
it better to say the approval is conditional rather than it shall expire?
I think what you should do is add some language. The commission is, this approval shall be valid, until November 3rd, 2022, to allow the commission an opportunity to
Evaluate its effect
reevaluate, yeah.
on whatever that language is on,
The downtown village
yeah,
district?
being compatible with existing streetscape and surrounding buildings
And maybe add-
evaluate its impact on the public,
And public safety.
And that won't trigger him having to go back in front of ACA. It would just be coming back to us at that point.
Right.
Correct. To allow, and I would put in there and may be modified at that time. Should,
If necessary, yeah.
yeah, should the commission find no,
and evaluate it and modify, what do you call this, is this an ordinance or what is it? And modify the,
it's a major alteration.
right, and modify this approval as needed or something.
Yeah. Erin, can we add public safety? Because I think if we get any police reports about fender benders or accidents or anything, that would be important. Thanks.
This approval shall be valid until November 3rd, 2022, to allow the commission opportunity.
I don't know if we need impacts again.
Yeah, on public view or safety.
And modify this approval as needed, or modify whatever this is called,
To allow the commission.
this resolution.
And should it,
Or modify the terms of,
yeah. Further evaluate any potential impacts on public view.
I think this is important to add because of the public outcry before, so.
I think that looks good.
Thank you. Yeah.
Boy, being on the spot, yikes.
I kind of like it, actually.
Oh, no.
Edit as you wait.
You can see my terrible typing. To allow the commission opportunity to further evaluate any potential impacts on public view or safety and further modify.
and you could add modify the term as needed, perhaps. So just, we may not need to. All right, no more typing.
Looks beautiful.
If someone likes this, I recommend someone making a motion.
Yes, could I have a motion to approve this application with the following, with those conditions? I guess, should we just go ahead and read it again, Erin? whoever makes the motion. I think Harold, you may need to mute yourself if that's noise at Fenway we're getting.
I got him.
So would someone like to go ahead and read this motion?
I can make the motion if you want.
Yes, please, Ron. Thanks.
I move that the Planning and Zoning Commission approve the following resolution. Voted that the Madison Planning and Zoning Commission grant application number 22-09 DVD, 761 Boston Post Road, map 38, lot 96, DVD, owner Davis Realty, applicant Harold L. Blank, Madison Arts Cinema, major alteration in the downtown Village District per section 30 for digital sign with the following conditions. Number one, the marquee shall only include static color images produced by the production studios, that is playbill, movie poster, at intervals of 30 seconds. And two, the display is limited to movie announcements and non-movie title-specific promotional display exclusively for the cinema. And three, no off-premises or product advertising signage be permitted on the marquee. 4, marquee signage shall be limited to no later than 30 minutes after the last showing, comma, no later than 11 p.m. 5, this approval shall be valid until November 3, 2022, to allow the commission an opportunity to further evaluate any potential impacts on the public view or safety, and further modify the terms of this approval as needed. This application, all right, so that's the end of the conditions. This application is approved with the finding that these marquee sign modifications are compatible with the existing streetscape and surrounding buildings, and that no further impact on the public view is anticipated within the sub-district. The effective date of approval shall be July 15, 2022. End.
Thank you.
Before we get a second, I mean, that final paragraph, we're basically saying that that it is compatible with the existing streetscape and surrounding buildings, and no further impact on the public view is anticipated within the sub-district. But in condition 5, we're asking for it to be able to evaluate any potential impacts on the public view or safety, and to further modify if needed. So I just don't know if we should strike anything in that final paragraph, or take the final paragraph out and just have the effective date approval shall be July 15, 2022.
I'm pretty sure we need that language, and we're saying this application is approved with a finding. That finding then might change in 3 or 4
Okay.
months. We have the right to do that. I think we need that language. Is that true, Aaron?
You could say this application is conditionally approved with the finding, because you do provide that caveat in condition 5 that you're looking to, you're approving this for a limited amount of time on a trial basis, essentially.
Okay, so I suggest we add this application is conditionally approved. Good point. Or do you want me to read it all again?
No.
Please no.
I think we're okay.
All right, so with that, I will second the motion.
Thank you, Elliot.
Thank you, Elliot.
Any further discussion? If not, then we'll take a vote. All in favor of approving the application? Aye. Opposed? None opposed? Unanimously approved. Thank you. Thank you, Harold.
The phanogram is approved.
All right.
All right, so we.
Enjoy your
then we
game.
will- Yeah, Harold can get back to his game. We'll get back to our meeting, which is almost as exciting. The regular meeting, we have a pending application listed for 22-15, 181, 187 Wildcat Road, 193 Horse Pond Road, which has been tabled to July 21st meeting. Aaron, did you have any other further information or comments about this application?
No, a modification had come in to the original plan. That's something that the applicant's attorney has submitted, and he did request that the application be tabled to July 21st to allow an opportunity for that. And they had reconfigured the lot line based on some staff comments to them. I have not had an opportunity to fully review that or speak to the attorney regarding that, but I believe he plans to be ready for the 21st.
Great, thanks. And then under discussion, we have 21-19, a regulation amendment to extend the moratorium on recreational cannabis establishments. And again, Erin, do you have comments to add? It looks like we're setting it for public hearing on July 21st.
Yes, very quickly. This is a moratorium that the commission did initiate and approve last fall. It was a 9-month moratorium. The Board of Selectmen did establish an ad hoc marijuana committee who has been working, they've been working to establish some guidelines per their charge. And the public outreach portion and policy recommendations look to be taking longer than what we had initially estimated in our 9 months, and just to give them that a little more room, it's unlikely that the Board of Selectmen would take any action on any potential ordinances, or even have the opportunity for the Planning and Zoning Commission to be taking any action within, before this August expiration. So we're just being proactive here to allow this process to continue and give us a little buffer through the end of December of this year. And so that's essentially the only change to this temporary moratorium.
Giselle, did you want to add anything since you are the planning and zoning representative on the ad hoc committee?
We have not had a meeting in quite a while. So it's pretty much business as usual with that part of it. No changes since the last time.
Right. The last meeting was
something. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So it makes sense to have this extension for sure.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
We've also had some change in staffing too, where we don't have the human resources director at this time. So some of those policy recommendations, they were all related. And so just to make sure that we have the right people providing information to the Board of Selectmen, I think this is a good idea.
Okay. Thank you. In that case, we can move on to approval of minutes. Elliot?
I have 2 sets of meeting minutes. The first one is from our meeting on June 2nd, 2022. Members that were present, Snow, Hitchcock, McDowell, and Bodenson. Entertaining motion
I so move.
by Ron, second
Second?
by Carol. Any discussions or changes or? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. Those are approved. The second one is our June 16th meeting. Members present, Hitchcock, Bodenson, and Hay. Will entertain a motion.
I so move that we approve them.
I'll second.
Okay.
And any changes? Nothing? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None? Abstain? None. All right. Approved.
Thank you, Elliot. Moving on to remarks. I think I have no specific remarks, but I know, Erin, you wanted to discuss a little bit, provide updates for the plan of conservation and development.
Yes, I
Consultant.
would. So thank you. Just to we've made some progress in our RFQ process here, and wanted to update the commission and make a recommendation to the commission. So I've kind of put this all out on paper, which I'm happy to share here. So at least we're all looking at the same thing. We did go out to RFQ, request for qualifications for a consultant to help with the update of the plan of conservation and development. And those proposals were due on June 17th was the deadline for submission. So our process for opening those packages it began on Wednesday, June 22nd, 10 a.m. We had a meeting. Carol Snow, myself, and John DeLore, our zoning enforcement officer, were all present for the opening of the bids. We did receive 6 bids. All packages included an original proposal plus 4 copies and a PDF on flash drive. The bids that we received in no particular order came from Fitzgerald and Halliday Inc., known as FHI Studio out of Hartford. We had Tyche Planning and Policy Group out of Vernon, Connecticut. We had Slam Collaborative out of Glastonbury, Connecticut. Planometrics out of Simsbury, Connecticut. BFJ Planning out of New York City, New York. And Collier's Engineering and Design out of Madison, Connecticut. Below, this is an excerpt of from the RFQ detailing our timeline process, as well as submission of statement qualifications and our criteria for award and our method of selection. Our tentative timeline, our RFQ was published May 20th, 2022. Our qualifications were due on June 17th of this year. A deadline for coming up with a short list of selected firms was anticipated for June 24th. Possible interviews, should the town wish to hold them, would have been through July 5th through 8th. And recommendation selection of our firm, we were anticipating a July 15th deadline. What was required as part of their statement of qualifications: company information, any sub-consultants or subcontractors associated with the project, relevant experience and references, the firm's approach for our specific project, what services were expected of the town, and the firm's familiarity with Madison. And our criteria process, pardon me for scrolling here. The evaluations by a selection committee would be using the following criteria: key personnel assigned to the plan and their present workload, firm's qualifications, experiences, demonstrated familiarity with plans in general, and specifically plans of a similar size and scope of nature. The approach to updating our plan, ability to engage the public in an innovative and inclusive manner, and how staff and consultants would be organized and utilized through the key phases of our update. The extent of services offered, the depth and extent of overall resources that can be put to use to ensure the success of our plan update, presentation quality and readability of previously prepared town plans, candidates' response format, and the estimated plan update fees. And the caveat that the town is not bound to select the firm who proposes the lowest fees, and we reserve the right to negotiate fees with a selected firm. So our selection committee was comprised of, again, Carol, myself, and John DeLore. Our reviews included reading the proposals, examining or speaking to municipal references, and a meeting to discuss spreadsheet comparisons between the firms. In reviewing the proposals, focus was placed again on the company information and key personnel, experience and references, scope of work and timetable, town services expected, and familiarity with our community. The town, we were very fortunate to receive responses from 6 well-qualified candidates. We were impressed by just about every single, by all of them, I have to say. But based on the above criteria, a short list of consultants was formed, including Tyche Planning and Policy Group, SLAM, and Resilient Land and Water LLC, and Planometrics. The committee opted not to hold interviews as an early consensus was found regarding a successful candidate. It is the selection committee's recommendation that Tyche Planning and Policy Group be awarded the contract for consulting services to assist in the update of the POCD. John Guskowski has worked with the commission over the last year, serving as interim town planner during Dave Anderson's transition and my onboarding. And more recently, John assisted the town in developing our affordable housing plan, which was unanimously adopted in May. The firm's recent involvements in town help bring a unique familiarity and awareness of Madison's strengths and challenges with respect to development, diversity, and land use in general. Understanding communities of our size is a benefit, and the firm's ability to facilitate community involvement is a top priority of our community while updating our plan. The small firm personalized approach is something that has served our community well over the last year and is something that we hope to continue during the update process. So should the commission agree with the selection committee's recommendation, you should take a formal action to award a contract to this firm. I'm happy to give you a brief overview and share some images, and the plan that was, the proposal that was provided to us by Tyche. If you would like to look through it, many of you have seen Tyche's work before, and very recently when we did meet with John and his associates for doing the affordable housing plan. I think that was a very successful document and experience working with them. So we're hoping to have a little feedback or some comments and see if
any questions.
The commission is. Yep, go ahead, Ron. Sorry.
Yeah, well, where are the offices and what was the contract amount?
So their offices are in Vernon. They are often, they do service other municipalities, sometimes in day-to-day planning tasks, but their headquarters are out of Vernon, Connecticut. They are, have the ability to come to town. Their estimated budget was $100,000, I believe, which is within our budget that is approved for the plan update. The town, we do have $105,000 set aside for our update as well.
Were they subcontracting anything significant out?
No, actually, this was a fully in-house update. There are 2 principals, John Guskowski, who is a certified planner and principal of Tyche, and his partner, Michael D'Amato, is also a certified AICP and a certified zoning enforcement officer, who is also available for the services. They do have 2 associates as well. One is the third individual who is on board with the firm is also a certified planner and certified zoning enforcement officer. It's my understanding that the project lead for this would be John Guskowski, assisted by Mike D'Amato as needed.
Any other questions? Erin, I just wanted to add that we did get into discussions about what exactly is an update as opposed to, a major revision of an existing plan of conservation and development. And I think what we were looking for was the best match for Madison, really. And And given what changes we've seen in the last 10 years, including the pandemic and how that might impact future land use. So we took a lot of that into consideration as well.
I can also add the local experience and other plan updates. Tyche has been involved in the plan of conservation and development update for the town of Clinton, as well as the town of Old Saybrook. And they were also involved in the city of Middletown, their plan update as well. Tyche itself is a fairly new company. However, the principals did work to do the update for Middletown under their previous employer. And those are all, I'm happy to kind of walk you through here, some examples from their proposal. If you're interested in seeing it, I guess I'll defer to your feedback, what you're looking for me to share with you as far as actual documents or references, what if there's anything that I can provide for you to help.
I defer to the judgment of the three of you who recommended, so I don't need to look at the specific documents.
Okay. Oh, and I apologize. The town of Essex, they also did the update for the town of Essex as well.
And I think, Erin, it's your thought that we should have a consultant on board first before we form some kind of working group or committee of stakeholders and everyone who might be interested in participating.
Right. So for let's see. So Elliot, you were involved in the 2013, or did you come on after?
No, I came on in 2015 or 2016.
Okay. And Ron or Giselle, were any of you involved either?
No.
So, okay. So the previous. The previous plan of conservation and development had a steering committee of various stakeholders, representatives from different boards and commissions, as well as there were some neighborhood groups and library and things like that, multiple groups. And so that is an approach that we're recommending again this time around to help facilitate the public outreach aspect and get as much feedback as we can. And as Carol indicated, we didn't want to jump into forming that committee without having some involvement and feedback from our consultant as far as how they would like to help structure that. That being said, we did estimate a July 15th time frame for awarding the consultant. So we wanted to give you this information. If it's something you want to sit on a little bit and read through their proposal, happy to share that with you. And we can push this to the 21st. Again, if you're comfortable, we do have a year and a half. Well, essentially next October, the end of next October, we anticipate that this plan needs to be this plan update needs to be completed. So we're eager to get going, so if you're agreeable, we'd like to move forward and finalize that contract so that we can hit the ground running here over the next month or so in awarding that contract.
Fine with me.
Is this action that we're supposed to be taking today, or is this?
That's at your discretion.
If we're comfortable with it, Elliot, but if you'd like some more time, since we're presenting, you just heard a lot from Erin about where we are with the RFQ and awarding the contract.
I mean, I think I would agree with Ron. I would probably divert to the three people that are making the recommendation and go with it.
Giselle, your thoughts?
So, I mean, I'm very, very comfortable with John Gostowski. I think he's a great guy. I mean, he definitely was very helpful to us, during the transition period. So
I agree. I'm very impressed with John myself.
Great.
But having
So-
a New York firm has been so cool, right?
If we're all on board, should I make a motion, Erin, or, do we need to take an official?
I would, I think that that's a good way to move forward, is to take a formal motion by the commission, accepting the review committee's, the selection committee's recommendation.
Ron, do you feel? can you
Yeah,
make-
I move that we accept the recommendation of the three-person panel that sifted through the applications and recommended the candidate before us.
Which would be tight.
I'll second that.
Thank you. So all
I
in
will second
favor?
Yeah.
Elliot, second, thanks. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor that we select Tyche, the firm of Tyche, for the Plan of Conservation and Development update? In favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No. So it's unanimous. Thank you all for that support. And happy to share those documents with you at any time. And
When
yeah,
something goes wrong, we're gonna want to look at it.
okay, sounds good.
And actually,
Also-
I just looked back at the last plan of conservation development, and 3 of the members that we lost back in December were the only ones that were actually part of that.
Yes, it's true. And also give some thought to how involved you might want to be as we form the committee.
Maybe you can rope some of those people back in.
That would be interesting, maybe. All right, great.
Thank you all. That's all I had for
Thank you, Erin.
staff comments.
Could I have a motion then that we adjourn?
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Elliot. A second. Giselle, thanks. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thanks.
Thank you
Okay,
all.
good night, everyone. Thank
Aye.
you.
Thanks for all your hard work. See you in a
Good night.
couple
Thank you.